Good morning. I am so sorry we had to cancel our meeting this morning, but I know you are all extremely busy between spring chaos, M-Step testing, school improvement, evaluations. I totally understand you have a lot going on. But what I do want to be able to do for you is share the information for you. And so we are trying something new. Welcome to the first Elementary Principals Network podcast. Here's the information you need to know in as short a time frame as possible. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me, whether it's through email or phone call. All right, so what do you need to know? A couple things to have on your radar. The first one is kindergarten readiness assessment. There may be some possible funding to continue this assessment. We did some pilots this past year in Saginaw County, and our region is slated to continue that process. So if there's more funding available, I will let you know and we will begin that process. But just keep that in the back of your mind and on your radar. Second thing, let's talk a little bit about third grade reading. Assessment update. As of right now, we know that there are two camps in MDE trying to make a decision. The first one is, the first camp is they want to design an a la carte type menu where they have your benchmarkers, your diagnostics, and your progress monitoring, and they give all the ones that are recommended and usable, and then you take that and design your system for your district. The other camp is saying, no, we're going to design three very distinct systems, and you pick one. We're kind of waiting to see what happens with that. I think for the most of us, I want to make sure the assessment fits my district, and I want to make sure that it's developmentally appropriate. That's the most up-to-date information I have from MDE in regarding to their assessment system requirements for PA 306. Now, here's what I'm recommending. This is the ISD's recommendation in regards to purchasing assessments and moving forward next year. Maintain status quo, but think about that system. Think about the benchmarking, the diagnostic, and the progress monitoring. Because even though you're maintaining status quo, we need to start thinking about where we may have to make some shifts. I'm going to be sending out, for example, the Ames Web purchasing email because it's that time. I have to have that done by the end of June. And in order to complete that, you may not have information from the state yet. So the state's going to understand that because this decision is being made so late, you're going to have to take another whole year if you need to make changes to your assessment system. We will provide training at the ISD as best as we can, depending on what comes out. Heather has in the back of her mind and in the wings ideas for assessment system training and support. We're providing NWE series training all next year. It's in our PD book. And then in addition to that, there's some DRA plus training going on through Heather this summer. So check out our PD book, contact us with what other assessment needs you may have. And then, like I said, the Ames Web Consortium purchasing will be going out shortly. Let's move on to IRIPs. IRIPs are being looked at both at a regional and state level. They're going to be taking a really deep dig into some of the samples that are out there and then hopefully come out with one or two for us to pick from and use. As soon as we kind of know what direction they're headed in, Heather's on top of this. She's part of the process. We will take that and develop supports for you on how to use it, how to design a literacy team. What does this look like? Kindergarten letter and read at home plan. So Heather has been working really, really hard for you guys. The first one is this kindergarten letter. She has designed a kindergarten letter to go home to parents explaining what PA 306 is all about. We're working hard on trying to figure out how to communicate best with parents. We showed this to the early literacy committee, the K3 literacy committee, and they gave us some feedback, as you can see. And then the second document she's working on is the Read at Home plan. This Read at Home plan is required by law to be sent home to kiddos with reading deficiencies starting next year. So as you can see, very parent friendly. We're working on it. If you would like to take a peek at these drafts, okay, in regards to the kindergarten letter and the Read at Home plan, just email me. Okay, so just shoot me a quick email saying, hey, I will get a copy of it. I won't disseminate it. I just want to look at it and give you feedback. If you want to be part of that process, let me know. Those should be ready as quickly as she can. She's working on the feedback right now from the early literacy group. Coaches update. So here's where we're at with coaches. We're kind of waiting on allocations for superintendents and you guys to make your decisions. It sounds like a lot of you want to select somebody in-house on your staff already to be a coach. So we'll be doing some memos of understanding. The reason behind the memos of understanding, because there seems to be some questions behind that, the training and the networking will be free, but we want to make sure that the legislation is covered. And so we need to make sure a couple things. One, that this memo of understanding is in place because it indicates you are using the ISD support, which is required by law. The second piece that's required by law is that your designated coach does the 11 tasks listed within the legislation. So that's in the memo of understanding. There's also a section in there that the coach will not be assigned a classroom and will not be assigned administrative duties. So that's listed in the memo of understanding. We need to make sure that we are following the law, and that's kind of the purpose behind that. If you are thinking, I think there's maybe one or two of you out there that are thinking about hiring through us, you need to let us know as soon as you get your allocations and what your decision is so that we can start that process for you and kind of talk about how that would work. So keep that in the back of your mind. I know many of you are waiting on allocations, so we're not necessarily going to jump on MOUs this month, but hopefully by next month we will. The Wayne County document. This I will send you to take a look at. This is a document that was created by Wayne County in regards to the PA 306. And as you can see, they brought together a really extensive group of people to put this document together to provide a resource. Heather and I have gone through it. We talked a lot about what's in here. For example, the legislation is the first thing. They have a nice timeline in there. It looks a little different from ours. They talk about parent engagement and communication. They have sample letters like we do, resources like we've been providing. Here you can see the Read at Home, parts of the Read at Home plan. Let's see, let me scroll all the way down. They've got a sample IREP that their region is looking at putting together. Frequently asked questions about the legislation. Okay, and there's a checklist for schools in here as well. We're looking at putting something similar together, but not necessarily in document format. We are actually creating a website that will house all of this for you. So it's as easy as a click or sending parents to a button. That's kind of our hope moving forward. I will share this document with you guys. I'll add a link to the agenda so you can take a peek at it. If there's something in there you really, really like, just let me know. So that's kind of where we're at with third grade reading. Some of our next steps for the third grade reading committee is to talk about communication protocols. How do we communicate this with parents better? How do we communicate with districts better? How do we communicate with students and stakeholders? How do we get partners involved? So that committee is going to be kind of guiding us through those next steps. And then, of course, the assessments as soon as we get more information. So moving on to school improvement real quick. Allocations will be late. Email came out from Katie Dora Parker from OFS indicating that estimated allocations won't even be calculated until earlier mid-June, and that MEGS Plus applications will not be ready until June. Very delayed. And the reason for the delay is because of ESSA and the submission of ESSA and the federal government and everything kind of going on there. So in regards to like 31A funding, Title 1A, Title 2A, Title 4, I don't have a whole lot of answers at this point. There's rumblings going on that we may not even receive any Title 2A funding anymore from the federal government. So everybody's kind of on hold in regards to that piece. Don't forget that your program evaluations are due June 30th. You must have those done by June 30th to secure your obligation date for your funds. If you need help with that, contact Allison Cincinnati, our kind of key person for guided school improvement and grants. There's a link here to the Assist newsletter. A couple good pieces in there. Keep in the back of your minds as well that we may not have Assist next year. So my recommendation is that you back all of your materials up, all of your completed materials up in August. Or September 1-ish, whenever you submit your SIP. Guided school improvement. This is just a reminder that we offer this every year. Allison Cincinnati and Lindy Beckman will be conducting these sessions. You can see here there will be 5 sessions next year in regard to the overview, the do, the gather, the study, and then the plan. Looking forward to the series. It is free as always, and these 2 lovely ladies do a just amazing job with the program. Comprehensive needs assessment. This is new going into next year, and this is really important for you guys. Allison is working hard on trying to figure out what's going on with comprehensive needs assessment, because what MDE is doing is they are taking all of the comprehensive needs assessments that are required from the different departments, and they're trying to create one consistent document. So this is actually going to be very new next year. So you're going to want to make sure you register and attend this training, because she's going to take you step by step through this process. The final school improvement piece I want to highlight is My School Data. So My School Data is growing extensively in regards to the amount of information you can pull, how you can use it. For example, the new 31A reports will be in there. So Allison will be offering a session on how to use My School Data. If you attend this, you may want to make sure you have access to login. That's going to be probably a key concept for this training. So that's kind of school improvement in a nutshell. I know you guys are crazy busy and trying to get your plans done, and I know you're on stall because of your lack of allocations. So just let me know how we can assist. Allison's available, Lindy's available, I'm available, and we can kind of talk through that process with you. Educator evaluation. So start thinking about what kind of supports you want for next year. I can't necessarily take the time to come do them for you, but we can provide some supports. Most of us are familiar at this point and should have had training on our rubrics. But now it's kind of ready for the next step. How do you really utilize this process to make it effective for your teachers? So we're looking at bringing back Molly Funk. For those of you who did not attend her series, it was well reviewed. Probably some of the best admin training that we have provided in recent years. And so we are looking at bringing her back as a Great Lakes Bay region. She would be doing the series across the region, providing training to admin, teachers, and possibly doing on-site visits with administrators. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you kind of our plan, and then if you could complete the survey, that would be great, just so I know if you are even interested before we go into the contract with her. Because if there's a lack of interest, then I'm not necessarily going to book that contract with her, so just let me know. Content area focus. We have a science meeting coming up tonight. Super excited about. Let me pull up the agenda so you can kind of see where we're headed. We have some working agreements that we're going to discuss, but then we're going to break into our leveled groups. So elementary is going to be looking at phenomenal science. Middle school will be looking at MyStar and integrated options. And then the high school will be taking a look at Table 6 in the Earth Science Standards placements within that process. Final recommendations, it looks like we are going to be going with middle school being integrated, high school being Table 6 with the Earth Science piece blended. There's also a couple resources here for you to take a look at in regards to phenomenal science. It seems to be the most consistent curriculum we're seeing in the region for elementary. Couple trainings we're offering next year, unpacking the science standards. What we're finding across the county is that teachers don't necessarily know how to read the standards or how to implement the standards. So we offered the session this year. We're going to continue to offer it until we know everybody's been through it. So we highly recommend it. It's just a 2-day training, and it really allows the teachers to understand what's within the standards that they're supposed to be teaching. And then also the 3 dimensions. So I've completed some science training with Allison Cincinnati this year, and I think this is probably the most challenging aspect of the new standards. It's a huge mind shift, these 3 dimensions and how it's designed. So this would be a great one for your staff to attend. All right, Megan Coonan is our new math consultant. She has started. I will be sending out a email here shortly with her background, her contact information, and then she will be following it up. She was really disappointed. She wanted to meet all of you today, but she totally understands how busy you are. She currently at this time does not have any PD scheduled within our PD book, but that may change. And she's also available for consulting and for her to come to you. Centered instruction. So this is a new concept I wanted to talk to you guys about. I had talked to you about bringing your content-based teachers together to talk about the resources, the curriculum, and that's what this program is. It's called Centered Instruction. And let me pull up our PD book so that you can see it, where it's located. All right, it's taking a little bit of time. There we go. It's under our countywide network. So here's our centered instruction dates. We have them for science, math, ELA, and social studies. And what these networks are going to do is bring together teacher leaders to talk about materials they are using, to talk about curriculum, to talk about how they're using technology and best practice, specifically in their content area. So right now we have 4 dates scheduled for this leadership team, this countywide team to meet. Anybody can attend to talk about and be part of the facilitation process. And then we might open it up and have a really large countywide event at the end of the year if there's time. But there was an interest in really driving curriculum and wanting to have those countywide conversations. So this is how we're going to start. I need to be able to build buy-in and capacity first. So we're going to start with this concept called centered instruction. Would really love for you to be able to send your teachers. As you can see, it is 3:30 to 5. So hopefully there won't be any sub issues for you. Couple legislative updates for you. ESSA plan. I just included an article that I read over, I think, last week or the weekend from the Fordham Institute regarding our plan that was submitted to the federal government. You might want to read it. It kind of shows, this is the chart that I really, really like, because you can see where Michigan falls in regards to performance index and emphasis on growth. So just really good articles to read and keep in the back of your mind. Finally, some ISD opportunities that I want you to be aware of. The first one is Orton-Gillingham training. This was requested from a couple of our districts and in the region, so we are hosting it as always. And here's the flyer for it. For those of you who don't know, Orton-Gillingham is a really good early literacy phonics program specifically geared towards dyslexia. We've offered it 2 years running, and this will be our 3rd year. To sign up, there is no link on this PDF, and their company is working on it, but you can just copy and paste it to register. Another big event coming up this year is Adaptive Schools Training. Adaptive Schools Training is great for administrators. So one of the feedbacks that we got was administrators wanted more training for themselves. So this is one of them. Adaptive Schools Training really takes you through the process from the administrative lens on how to conduct better meetings and professional development within your own buildings. It also provides you with a number of strategies that you can model for your teachers in hopes that they use it in the classroom too. It is a 4-day training, and you need to attend all 4 days. There's 2 days in October and 2 days in November. NWEA. So Allison Cincinnati is putting together this series with NWEA. We know this is about half our districts in the county use this. It's a series that you can kind of read about. We're getting registration set up here shortly, but I think there's like 5 or 6 days. Our professional development book, just to give you some looks into that. There we go. So some countywide learning. I went over the school improvement. We have the 2 science pieces. We're also doing something called curriculum alignment, developing a process. There are minimal curriculum coordinators or curriculum directors in the county. Most of our districts do not have them. So a lot of times it falls in the hands of the principals, but you don't necessarily have time. So this session and this series will take you through the process throughout the year and provide you with the easy to use tools to kind of take a really deep look into your curriculum and to make sure it's aligned across the district or in your building. Cultural change. Leadership Academy was a success this year. So we are running it again in February. In the evening. This is for people who think they want to do leadership, not quite sure what direction, whether they have their degree or not. Poverty impact. Once again, poverty is a huge issue that I think impacts us all. And so this committee will be meeting regularly to learn more about how do we engage students with poverty, living in poverty. Bridging the gap. This is going to be really important work. We're focusing on literacy moving forward into next year on how we can really impact our early childhood world as they come up into kindergarten. I think that's going to be a huge part of PA 306 in regards to we need to get the kids before they hit kindergarten in literacy. So that's an exciting group to work with. So please register. All these events are free and are of no charge to you. So MTSS, Lindy Beckman, as always, if you participated in her Tier 1 supports and training this year, it's going to be continued. You must have been part of this year to do this Tier 1 right here. This is the continued one. This is for Cohort 1. Cohort 2, this is the new one. She's starting a new cohort moving forward. Here's the dates. And then MTSS Tier 1 Instructional Best Practices Breakout Sessions. So there's a lot of topics within MTSS, such as vocabulary development, PLCs, student engagement. There's all these pieces that kind of play into it. So she's offering one-day sessions that are kind of breakout. You do not have to be part of the cohort in order to attend these breakout sessions. So if you're interested, you can attend them without necessarily being part of a cohort. PBIS. So we have PBIS school-wide, the overview. So we're offering a PBIS overview October 5th to kind of learn about what PBIS is. What does it look like? How would it work in my building? What am I currently doing? And then that's followed up with one-on-one sessions. So for me to come and work with your building leadership teams to design what would work best for your building. PBIS Tier 2 training is coming, just waiting on the dates. For those districts who have already been through the overview and have implemented school-wide. Classroom management. I'm getting a lot of requests for this. And in the past, we've offered it online. And we've done face-to-face. And so I think the best format has been face-to-face. This will be designed around the program of CHAMPS and best classroom management practices. So here's the sessions. You can see the first one is in August. So if you have a teacher after your evaluation process is complete this year that really, really needs some help in this area, have them sign up and we will get them moving in a better direction for you. Here are the early literacy trainings that Heather is providing. We have PA 306 overview workshop, creating partnerships in literacy, introduction to the early literacy essential practices, and then the DRA 2. There's also information down here regarding our coaching model. Amy, of course, Amy Wasman's Michigan model and sex ed and other trainings. The registration is coming soon, but you have the dates there to share with your staff. Here are the Orton Gillingham dates and cost, as well as adaptive schools and NWA that I had talked about earlier. Countywide networks, so dates for principals networks are next year, listed here, as well as special education directors and state and federal programs, otherwise known as Title I. We also have instructional networks such as regional literacy leaders and our MTS network, and then our new centered instruction content-based networks. And here's the team. So here is the team with pictures, so you can kind of see their faces. If you want a request from them, and that's kind of what's next on our agenda, we've solidified a better process. You click on this request for services and a form pops up and it'll take you through the process. This form will come to me and I figure out who can do it when, and then we confirm it with you. It just kind of creates a cleaner process for us on our end. So if you want to request services in any way, shape, or form from the ISD to come out to you, just fill out this form. All right, talked about that. Instructional listserv. We've created content-specific listservs to send out opportunities and information and resources. If you want your teachers to be part of it, please have them sign up. And then Lindy has an MTS network listserv that's kind of floated around too, and I can resend that. I know that was a lot of information in a short amount of time for you. Hopefully this was helpful. Versus maybe taking notes and sending it and not meeting at all. So let me know how this went, if you appreciated it, and we'll go from there. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. It's beautiful before 3 days of rain. Good luck on finishing up M-STEP. Let me know how I can help with school improvement and teacher evaluations. You're almost done.